Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
Good morning. It's Monday, July 21st. It's Inside the Game. Me, myself, Jonathan Turner, and my partner in crime, Mr. Nathan Wangler. And it is a glorious, glorious Monday morning here in the great state of Michigan and around the United States of America. And big weekend that we just got done rolling through. We'll get into that this morning. Hey, we had some good comments coming in on the TikTok this weekend as well. We'll get maybe into some of those.
Few?
Yeah, I like that.
A few who also think you're an idiot, but that's okay. It's good. Okay. It's good content.
I am, in fact, an idiot. I do subscribe to my own idiocracy or idiocy. Yeah,
there you go.
I do.
Yep.
So I do. I get it, you know. But, hey, I mean, idiots aside, talk about an idiot. But while we were away this Friday, astronomer CEO.
Oh,
my goodness.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
Ooh.
you know, first off, I like Coldplay. I do. Okay.
Yeah,
I do.
That's fair. All right.
I like Coldplay.
All
I mean,
right.
I'm not sure if I would go to the lengths of actually buying tickets and go watching Coldplay in person. Enjoy their music. Yellow, good song.
Yep.
But to go into a Coldplay concert with, your mistress, probably not the best idea. I mean, whatever happened to hiding your affairs, whatever just happened to hiding them, man. Just it's like, I am not a person who believes in having an affair. It's not something, not my cup of tea. There are obviously people out there, maybe it is, but I don't know. I just, you're going to go to a concert, you're going to canoodle at a concert publicly, and then when the camera hits you, you duck down and hide. Hide and seek. It's like peekaboo.
I actually heard a really interesting theory, which I don't know if it probably wouldn't have been true because we know how the internet goes and people are able to connect dots that I didn't even think were possible to be connected. There are just people out there with way too much damn time on their hands. And so they can turn even the most innocent looking blip on the radar into something that's much bigger than what it actually is. But if they didn't react the way that they reacted, then my question, and I told you this a few days ago while we were in between the 17 games that we had this weekend, I was like, if they didn't react the way that they reacted, would anybody have known? Because when it happened, the way that he disappeared from the map, I mean, he literally poof, he was gone. He didn't exist anymore. And meanwhile, she has her back turned to the camera, somehow that's going to shield her from being seen looking the opposite way. I memean, all the recreations are just marvelous. Shout out to the Phillies, by the way, and the Philly Fanatics. That was amazing what they did. And the entire world is really getting into the whole public shaming, and I love it. I love that public shaming is back. Good for them. Those CEOs deserve it, and they can deal with it on their end. They'll be perfectly fine.
Here's where my struggle is, okay? And again, I do not on any level condone the cheating aspect, okay? And again, that's a whole separate issue. But this need for us to have people resign or quit over this kind of stuff. Now, granted, she was an employee of the business, so again, that makes things a little more murky. I'm just not a big fan of people losing their jobs over this kind of stuff. As bad as it may be, I mean, I got to go quit my job. I got to resign. It's like this. I get it. I mean, and again, I'm sure nobody here is going, well, we feel bad for him. He cheated on his wife and but again, I don't like that people lose their jobs over this. You know what I mean? And again, had this person not been a CEO of a large company and had people know that, I mean, average Joe CEO, small company USA, maybe not, going to lose their job. I don't know, but I just don't like it. I've never been a big fan of people losing their job over things like this because, again, is morally, irrehensible as this might be.
Well, and for every one CEO that loses their job because they're cheating on their spouse, there's probably about 20, 25, 30 of them that are not going to lose their jobs, that are up to something equally as slimy. Okay, like come on now. Like we all know what goes on in corporate America. We all know what this country's all about, all right? Like we get it, and my favorite part about all of it is the people who the geniuses on social media who are like, well, it's called the proximity effect. You're just around them so much that it just happens. You don't just fall into an affair. Okay? Stop that nonsense. You make a conscious decision to do it. Okay, whoops, I just had sex with someone that's not my wife. No, that's not that doesn't happen. All right? You make a conscious human decision to have an affair. Stop with this whole proximity effect BS. All right, but no, I agree with you. For every one that we catch, there's probably about 50 of them out in this world that are not caught. So the thing that makes it weird, and you mentioned it though, is they work at the same company, and it's the head of HR. Okay, like the person who's supposed to be managing the people in the office. Like if there was a complaint about harassment or something that was said, maybe an off-putting comment or something else along those lines, like the HR person is the one that not only has to hear about that, but has to deal with that situation and handle that situation. But yet she's the one doing these things. Like that's the part to me. It's like, well, you're going to sit over here and make these judgment decisions on the character of other people if they're not doing the right things. But yet you're the one that's out doing it at the Coldplay concert, being dumb, by the way, about it. I mean, to be caressing each other and swaying back and forth in that moment, especially when they're doing the kiss cam or whatever that was just beyond me. Again, you're just putting yourself in the line of fire. But no one said cheaters were the smartest people on earth. But that's they're going to get exposed for it. But hey, shout out Coldplay for not being shy about it at all. Either they're having an affair or they're really shy. That was really good on the part of those guys. And automatically you could see the sales, and I'm sure the relevance of Coldplay just skyrockets just in that one.
Well, but I think it'd be great if like Astronomer, like as a company, would like make a new video like of their company, like their culture, and everyone's just like holding each other, like hugging in the office. And I'd be like, hey, this is our normal culture. What are you talking about? This is what we do. It's like
just double down on it.
Yeah, come to Astronomer where we bring a new level of intimacy and really.
Our love language here at Astronomer is physical touch. We
right.
We just love touching each other.
They're all around the water cooler, all hugging each other.
That's what I want our company culture to be, JT. Can we have that at NSN? And just every time I
was walking by one of our
every time I show up.
I was walking by one of our producers last night. We were talking about this in the studio, and I was like, "Hey, I'll hug you guys." And he's like, "You will not hug me." I was like, "Okay."
Step back.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, no, but the way social media and the rest of the world took that by storm was awesome. I mean, when you go from Shane Gillis and what he did at the ESPYs to Astronomer CEO in a stretch of 2 days, that's when the internet stands tall, man. And I didn't realize that we needed an affair between the CEO and the head of HR to really bring the world together. But for a few days there, it did. I almost felt bad because I know we've been away from minor league baseball for a while, and they're on the road in Peoria this week. But I was thinking if we were back in town, we should have done something with that. But like I'm talking about, half the world, half of minor league baseball has already kind of jumped on that trend. So we'll see what happens. But dumb people, man. Did you ever realize, like, when people do that too, like they always cheat down, like, they never really cheat up. Like, I mean, geez, like great family, good kids, good house, everything else like that. Like, I don't get it, man. It just doesn't add up to me. And maybe because I'm a single guy, like I just haven't been all that invested in that side, but it just doesn't. People suck. Okay.
Yeah,
Put it that way.
So again, I can't speak to obviously the relationship, and my wife and I, we talk about this all the time. Like, I'm so thankful that I don't have to be in the dating world. And not saying that the dating world is ultra complex. It's extremely, it's complex, I think, in its own way.
Yeah.
But back when, back 25 years ago, when I was in the world trying to find somebody, you'd walk up to them in a restaurant, a bar, at an event. We didn't have a dating app. There wasn't this thing where you're just going like, this with your phone. That wasn't a thing. And so you were trying to connect with somebody in person. And a lot of times it was like, hey, I have a friend, we can introduce you, whatever it might be. And so it was different. But now, and I talked to one of my best friends who's in the dating world, and you know this, for everybody who's using a phone right now as an app, for every woman out there using it, she probably, and this has always been the case in the dating world. So this is not a new thing, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Women have always had the edge when it comes to dating. Okay. Always. Yep. And that will never change. Okay. So she's on her phone and she's, talking with, on the app, whatever it might be. She might be talking to 20 or 30 different people during that time period. And that guy might be trying to talk to 20 or 30 people. And the same thing. It's like that's how this is going. And so, and if you throw into the mix that, there's this thing where what's the incentive to even get married in the first place? What is the incentive? We talk about this all the time, obviously not on camera and on a microphone, but it's like, what's the incentive to get married today? It used to be, you go move in together, you have a family, there's a tax incentive, there's insurance benefits, but none of that is true anymore. You can get all of those things, whether you're married or single, and you don't need anybody else to do it, and so
you have your own Netflix password, you got your own bank accounts.
Yeah. So, I mean, the incentive, there's no longer an incentive, to get married. And so, and when you are married, we wandering eyes, you know.
Well,
it's okay to window shop. It's not okay. It's okay to window shop. I say it's okay to window shop. It's okay to say admire beauty. It's okay to say that's a good looking person over there.
Yep.
But and again, I think all of us, I have worked alongside very beautiful people. I have worked alongside people who have, on some level, in some way, have made an emotional response. It goes, oh yeah, okay, but you cannot do that.
No.
And so it's like, again, I as a man, and as a husband, as a father, no way, no how. No, thank you.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe for 1 second that anybody would even consider doing that. And
I mean, and we do exist in a world now, and this is the tough thing. I realize I said that the whole proximity effect, right? Here's another, thing that, Gen Z thought they just came up with, and maybe not Gen Z. I mean, everyone thinks that they have an idea as to what the science is, the reason why it happened. Like I said, that's BS. I think it's BS. But we do exist in this world now where oftentimes we spend more time around our coworkers and out working than ever before. You think about our grandparents' generation, you think about maybe some of the older generations. I feel like they also had they didn't have the access to technology. And I mean, you look at the way my grandparents met, my parents met, they were both in person. They were both genuine. They were both, my grandparents were at a city, like a dance, you know what I mean? There was a city gathering like downtown, and they met each other. My parents knew each other practically their whole life. Like, that's not how that goes now. So you have these dating apps, but at the same time, we're just busier as a people now. So you're going to be surrounded by everybody and anybody else oftentimes other than the person that you want to be in a relationship with. So we also live in this society now that it's like, what have you done for me lately? That's where we're at right now. What have you done for me lately? Do you present a certain set of either characteristics, money, stature, size, all these other things. What do you present to me? Back then it might have been need-based, but it might have also just been like, oh, we vibe together. I don't have access to 50 other people simultaneously, so I'm not going to be constantly weighing my options and cycling through. It's just, you like me, I like you, we're in love, let's do this thing. Let's make this work. So it's a different world altogether. But
the question I have for you is this considered cheating?
Nope, that's the proximity effect. He was in the proximity effect of the ball.
Is this cheating?
Again, proximity effect. He just so happened to touch the ball with his hand. He just fell into it. He's not cheating. He was just there, okay? That's all. That's all.
I think he should resign. Hey, let's segue into
Let's get into soccer talk.
All right, let's dive into some soccer here this morning. USL League 2 playoffs getting underway here on Friday night. There were 16 games that took place on Friday evening around the United States, and it was an exciting weekend. We saw some teams drop out. Asheville City, the number 1 ranked Asheville City, bounced out in the first game of the USL League 2 playoffs. Des Moines Menace, who has had a number of successful seasons, also bounced out. Peoria City bounced out as well. Peoria City, as you remember, was the national finalist last year in the USL League 2. Take a look here at the current bracket. Here it is. Again, you can see there on your screen that FC Motown beat Western Mass in the Eastern Conference. Vermont Green FC, they beat, again, Northern Virginia FC, and then they ultimately beat FC Motown yesterday to move into the Elite Eight. They'll be hosting that in Vermont here on Friday night. Lionsbridge beat Asheville City. And again, that was the upset right there. And then Louisiana Crew and Dothan United, both those teams battled it out. Dothan won last night over the LA Crew FC. And then down there in the Southern Conference, again, Fort Lauderdale beat Laredo Heat earlier this weekend. And then they beat Sarasota Paradise, who would beat Sporting Jacks on Friday. So you've got Fort Lauderdale, Dothan United, you got Lionsbridge and Vermont all in the Elite Eight here on that side of the bracket. And then we look at the other side of the bracket, Ballard FC, who made it all the way to a national championship and won it back in 2023, have made their way back to a conference final once again. They are hosting, and they are taking on Ventura County Fusion, who is also in a conference final here a few years back in 2023 when they traveled here to Michigan, and they lost to Ballard in that game. You've got Minneapolis City SC, who beat the Peoria City on Friday in penalties. They beat Sueño FC last night, who beat Des Moines Menace on Friday as well. So, and then last night, Fort Wayne, who beat Midwest United in overtime 3-2 on Friday, lost to Flint City last night in double overtime, a penalty kick in the 118th minute, and then in icing on the cake goal for Dominic Ayala, who put in the back of the net, made it 2-0, and Flint moves on to the Elite Eight, another conference championship opportunity for them as well.
And we watched a lot of those games, and I love that feature that we have, the goal zone, so we can watch all the different games that are going on simultaneously while you and I were obviously broadcasting that second game last night, that Flint City game. And so you had that screen up on your right while everything else was going on, and we were watching Vermont and them rolling through the first couple of rounds. And man, just the turnout in that environment, that's going to be a place that if you have to play that squad in a place like that, it's going to be a tall ask. What they had over 5,000 people there, something like 5,500 in attendance. I mean, they finished the season top 2 in the power rankings, right behind Asheville. And so if there's, the Mean Green are a team that I think that I'm really glued to as the USL 2 playoffs roll along. But just speaking from the perspective of the games that we did. First of all, tough break for Midwest United, man. I mean, that young team, back-to-back times getting to the playoffs. Last year was obviously their first time in the USL League 2. And then yesterday to finish it off, here's a look at the goal zone. So all the different games that are going on all simultaneously. So you see the Vermont green there at the top of your screen. And then I believe that's Kettering University. So the very top left, that's obviously Flint City. So that's where they were playing their game yesterday against Fort Wayne. But, tough break for Midwest United. I thought they looked really strong. Obviously, I got a little bit of a personal pull with those guys being that they're from Grand Rapids, but 2 early goals. But then obviously we saw Fort Wayne scrap their way back into it. What I will say is that the nice thing about this time of year, because of how equal the talent is, you're going to see the beautiful game be exactly that, beautiful. You're going to see a lot of these games come down to the very end, and Fort Wayne executed off set pieces. They were able to come away with a lot of clutch turnovers, which I thought was awesome to see, to get them into that second game against Flint City. But, man, I tell you what, Flint, we talk about it with teams that have a reputation of just knowing how to win games. When you force them to be flexible and do different things, they're going to be able to respond and do exactly that. And we said that during the pregame show, if you want a chance to win this game, Steel City they had no problems cutting and slicing through that Flint City defense. And they took advantage of a couple of opportunities, an early nutmeg to get that first goal to put them on top. But in that Fort Wayne game, it wasn't, no one could get forward. It was a stalemate pretty much the entire way through. And it was a 0-0 tie going into extra time, but they realized that they had to be that way to give themselves a chance late. And they were just endurance-wise, depth-wise, they were able to stand up. I think in terms of fitness, when I look at Flint City, it's one of the best teams in terms of just their overall fitness level, because the 2 guys that scored those 2 goals were in there the entire time. You got Phillips, who came in off of what was a great save initially off a set piece, PK really late in that game that could have been the decider. Obviously there was a little time left, but I didn't think there was anybody more fitting than Phillip to step up and take that one. And then obviously Grigiak setting up Ayala at the very end to really salt that game away. There's a lot to love about that Flint City team. And I know that they've been really kind of wanting to get back since 2019, wanting to get back to the top of the mountain. Yeah, we'll view some of the highlights here, but they're willing to match fire with fire in that game against Fort Wayne, who was really a hungry side too. And that was the other part of it. Not only do you get another crack at this Flint City team that you lost to last year, but you get to do it inside of their stadium, which to them was probably the best part. But yeah, hung tough defensively. That was a great header away from what could have been a bicycle opportunity. I just think they matched them wit for wit, and they were able to draw a few calls. And again, their attackers are amongst some of the best in the country. When you have the speed and the craftiness and the technicality of Ayala, and then you add in the physical nature and the athletic prowess of someone like Donovan Phillip, you're going to make a lot of things happen. And especially when the game gets late and you have to, really dig deep to find the results that you want. That's exactly what they did in that game. I was really impressed by what they put together.
And obviously the debate is whether or not that was a penalty shot, or should it have been called. I mean, we can slow this thing down. We'll slow it down to right here. And you tell me. Collects the ball and then runs right into him. I mean, I don't know how that wouldn't be a penalty kick.
Yeah.
But I guess he was left no choice.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting. I was actually talking to Dan about this after the game, and he said, I've seen worse let go by referees, but it is still, in a lot of ways, it's considered a foul. I mean, is it ticky-tack? Maybe, but you can't change the way that you call a game just because of the time and just because it's a playoff game. I've never agreed with the sentiment that, you can't call that in that spot. Well, why? I call the game fair and square. I'm going to call the game exactly the same way in the first second as I'll call it in the last second. That doesn't change exactly how I go about calling the game. It can be a regular season game. It can be a postseason game. And I see this a lot with other sports too. Like, oh, you should have called a foul there. Or you shouldn't have called a foul there. Or bad spot to call that. You don't change the way you call a game because of the time and because of what's at stake. Like, and that's the hardest thing in my mind when you talk about being a referee, especially once you get into the postseason. And we saw some brush ups with referees and some other things that ended up going down that probably weren't all that great. I mean, it's the intensity of the game. It's the time of year. I get it. But, there's this mindset that because it's late, because it's a playoff game, because it's an elimination game, because everything might come down to this, that you have to change the way you coach the game. It was a foul in my mind. Now, was it as clear cut as ever? No, but if it's a foul, you have to call the foul, and that's what happened. And again, tough break. But what have we talked about all the time, JT? A lot of times these playoff games, these postseason games, come down to one bad break, one good break. You just need one deflection, one foul, something else to go your way. And that's exactly what happened. And to be frank with you, that's what happened to Fort Wayne. That's the reason why they got into that position. And Midwest United doesn't commit the foul they did just north of the 18 and 90 plus. I mean, that ball rolls into goal, and they have an opportunity to just boot it away and end that game. And they're marching on to the next round to take on Flint City. But they didn't. They made a stupid mistake, and then the game got tied up. And then, I mean, when you score 2 unanswered and 1 in 90 plus in order to bring it into extra time, I mean, you kind of know what happens then, right? Like the momentum squarely on the side of the other guys, but it's still a spirited fight from Fort Wayne, but it just didn't have the legs to hold up.
No,
I got to give a shout out to our people at Pub 1802, though. Shout out you guys for at least getting on and watching us last night. That was really cool to see our show, our product up on the TVs in the pub down there in Fort Wayne, Indiana. You guys are a cool group, and obviously best of luck with what you're going to be doing in League One next year, because that's a really exciting promotion. And Dan and I were chatting about this yesterday. There are a lot of soccer specific facilities that are now popping up across the United States, and I think that's a really exciting thing, because that, out of all the different markers, when we talk about growing the game, I think that is one of the biggest ones, because we just don't have enough of those. We're all playing, and we're playing in football stadiums, and no disrespect to Kettering University and Flint and where they play and they do all their stuff. Obviously beautiful, and they bring out a lot of people. But in order to actually get the game to that next level, we have to have soccer specific facilities. And, so really excited about what Fort Wayne's going to do down there. And like I said, you guys got a good group. That was really fun getting to cover that game for you guys.
It was, in fact, a blast. And obviously, we talk about last night, but here on, and we took a look, obviously, at the bracket and a lot going on here. We'll take another look at it here. But again, Ballard FC hosting Ventura County on Friday. And you've got, again, Vermont Green taking on Lions Bridge. Actually, I think that's going to be, I think that Lions Bridge, I'm curious how this is going to shape up. I think Flint is going to Vermont, and I believe Fort Lauderdale and Dothan are going to Ballard. But again, I'm not entirely sure. A couple of years ago, we saw Ballard and Ventura come here, so it would not surprise me if Flint, which it would. I mean, Flint is going to California or to Washington. So we thought maybe they're going to go to Vermont, but they're in fact going to Washington, just outside of Seattle, is where Minneapolis and Flint are headed here this weekend. Now I look at this bracket. So yeah, because they'll play each other in a semifinal. The winner of that Ballard Ventura game. So yeah, so they're traveling out west. Maybe hopefully come back here for a final in Michigan here in 2 weeks.
And it's going to present a new set of difficulties too, because I think the benefit of what Flint's been able to do, and here's the big help, is that by winning the division, like getting home field advantage for the postseason means everything. Like it's the reason why the regular season means as much as it does. And obviously Midwest United had a lot of time off there towards the end, but their cold start pretty much sidelined them. Had they not had that, they would have had that opportunity to get in, and then it would have been a much different story. But, obviously you have the big facility, you have the people coming out. So, like, naturally, I think that lends itself to, we're going to have these guys host this division, this round, this section of the playoffs. But that's why putting together good regular season stretches and having those big wins when you need them are important, because it set them up. But now it's a different ball game when you talk about going on the road, and especially how far they're going to have to go for this postseason match. We'll see if they're able to keep that level of positive mojo on their side and still be able to push down the field and do what they needed to do. But no, it's I will say that Flint has proven that they can win in multiple different ways. You know, they can pour it on and they can score four goals if you need them to, or they can score 2 in the very last seconds of extra time to get the job done that way. You know, that they're a scrappy bunch, and they've proven that they can do it in multiple different ways. And like I said, they're exciting up front, and you know, they were able to fight it out and win that game. So they just have a reputation. They just continue to do it.
Which leads us now into the USLW National Championship game here on Saturday. And Nathan and I had a chance to call that game. Utah United doing what they've done all season long, score goals in buckets. A team that averaged over 5 goals per game during the season scored 4 goals against NC Courage here on Saturday night, and did so in winning the national championship in their first season in the league, an expansion team. And again, a fantastic game we saw here on Saturday night.
And it's amazing to me that they finished it off the same exact way that they got there. We were, talking in length about, what they present, what they bring to the table, but it wasn't just the offense. And I remember talking about that a lot on the broadcast. They have done it they did it in both ways, and the flexibility and the ability to defensively really kind of batten things down when they needed to. I mean, 2 straight clean sheets, 3 straight clean sheets for Taylor Rath in goal. I mean, she is in a lot of ways. You talk about, obviously Seven Castaigne is huge there on the left side of your screen, but Taylor Rath, on the right side of your screen is just as instrumental as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they can keep her around for next year. But yeah, Seven Castaigne, the Golden Boot Award winner. They're deep. They got after it. And part of me feels bad for NC Courage, though, at the same exact time, because the biggest struggle is maintaining the players that you have. And Scott Haraz, I mean, he talked about this going into these games. He's like, this is 80 to 90% college players on this Utah United team. Like, how do you maintain roster integrity? How do you maintain numbers when you're dealing with that many college players? Because we know that different coaches, they have different priorities. Some of them want you back. Some of them are like, no, it's okay. Go ahead, finish it. But I'll say this, the teams that have a really solid foundation and a solid culture, if you have a club coach that has a good relationship with college coaches, they're going to be more comfortable leaving you in that environment. And I'm not saying that's not the case with NC Courage and Willie Davis, but, I remember after the Gold Cup final when the U.S. lost to Mexico, we were like, oh, well, we had, X amount of players. Christian Pulisic wasn't there, this, that, or the other thing. You kind of feel like it was the same conversation around NC Courage when it came to this championship, because even us leading up to this game, I mean, we're looking at the roster, we're looking at players that aren't there, and we're like, this is like half their team. This is half of the squad that got them to this point. It's very eerily reminiscent of, I know you and I are Lions fans, but like when they lost in the playoffs last year, how many guys did we have on the injured list? Like we had to have like 12 total starters on the injured list. Like it was bad. Like we had a skeleton of a team, but we went out there and we competed, and it was a close game and it was exciting and all these other things. But you're like, there's just, you can't expect the same quality of play if you're missing a lot of those players that got you there. And again, to Utah United's credit, it doesn't take anything away from them. They executed. They were like, we're going to get forward. We're going to push the tempo. Because I don't know if their back line can hold up. And to their credit, they didn't, and they were able to bury them really early in that game. I realized that we only went into the break 1-0, but they came out the second half like crazy people, and they got the job done.
No, they did, as we continue to look at highlights here from that game. It was 1-0 going into the halftime break. And in coming out in that second half, Utah United just continued to put on the pressure and ultimately put in 3 goals here in the second half. Trying to find where they are here in real time.
And hopefully this is the growing moment for NC Courage's goaltender too, Lauren Zitt, who was manning the pipes. They had, I think, 3 or 4 different goaltenders that they used this year. And Zitt herself, only a freshman. It was a freshman this last year in college. So there is a lot of growth and development that's still yet to be had for her. And she made some big saves, to her credit. But again, it's just when you overwhelm the net the way that Utah United did, you're going to win back possession. You're going to give yourself some walk-in opportunities to really make things happen. And they also didn't have a lot of threats on the offensive side too. I mean, Mia Minestrella, who is amazing, plays over at Duke, and she's had some really good seasons there. Just they tried to continue to go back and feed her, but there really wasn't anything there. And again, if you lean on a goaltender the way that they did pretty much that entire game, you're going to break through. So, for someone who's, that's one of the biggest moments, is that you have to be more sure-handed than that. You have to be able to pull that ball in. There's no real excuse in that moment. I realize it's bang, bang, and you want to be aggressive and you want to come off your line. And I understand that, but as a young one, these are sometimes the hard lessons, and it sucks that it has to come in the national championship. You wish it would have come maybe during the school year or during a different time where, these things happen, but these are the kind of moments that'll teach you in real time. The water bath.
The water bath. But yeah, we pull all the stops out too from a production standpoint, right? We had obviously our pregame show. We had the halftime show. This is here our postgame coverage. And
the other thing that I'll say that I love about the USLW too, and it's something that we had in these conversations leading up to this match, is it's an opportunity for these states to really show off what they have. So we talked about that again in length coming into this broadcast. They wanted to show off the state of Utah. They wanted to show off the depth in terms of the talent they have at the college level in that state specifically. And the way they operated in that game showed all of that. They were able to roll. They were able to do everything they needed to do to get to that final to win it. And so I love the regional aspect of these tournaments. And I know sometimes you got multiple teams in different states, especially in the USL. But a win like that that'll put your state on the map. And you even look across the roster. They're all from Utah-based schools: Utah Valley, Utah State, the Utah Utes. They're all from that area, from that state. And so they again etch themselves into the history books. And I'll be excited to see what happens come next year. But that game all through, I was surprised it was only 4-0 too. I thought there for a second that maybe they would pour on a few more, but it just got the job done. And again, when you win one, and I know I sound like a broken record because I said this on the broadcast yesterday, but when you win one, that sets you up for the future, because now everybody knows that you have the opportunity to go win a championship, and they've proven that they can win a championship. So that's what's exciting. That's what's up next for Utah United.
Yeah, and again, you just can't say enough about what took place there. A lot of championships this weekend, a lot of playoff games, right? UPSL back underway here yesterday, and we had a chance to cover that game here. You were on the call for that one. Chicago Nation battling out with the New York Shockers in a round of 16 matchup here in Ohio, just outside of Cleveland. And talk about that match for a second.
The up and down nature of that game, as well as the other. We had 12 combined goals between our first 2 USL2 games. I think that's what it was. And then the third one obviously was more defensive minded and a little bit more succinct, if you will. That was not the case in the UPSL between Chicago Nation and New York Shockers. That game was, an offensive onslaught. 9 goals. Chicago Nation breaks through in the 9th minute in the first half. New York Shockers comes back in the 12th minute with a goal. And mind you, they went into that game with not the biggest goal differential in the world. Well, I think it was like plus 12 plus 14 on the year. You know, Chicago Nation was like plus 33. And so one team had a reputation for scoring a bunch. The other team, maybe not so much. But again, to New York's credit, they were quick in being able to respond in a lot of those situations. They were quick in being able to clap back and come back. But it was just, it was, I think it was a little bit of nerves too. We talk about postseason play. Sometimes that can lead to sloppy defense. And that's exactly what it was. Chicago Nation, I mean, they were just throwing Hail Marys, and a lot of them were connecting. And so that's what gave them that opportunity. But you talk about reputation and getting there. I mean, we even talked about it with the Chicago Nation team. I mean, two Final Four appearances. They've been to a championship. Like, now it's just a matter of finally breaking through. But yeah, Skidchenko on the front line. What a fun player to watch. I mean, I know he was a little bit of a journeyman in college, kind of bounced around and finished off his college career at the University of St. Francis. But you know, this is a kid that possesses a lot of skills, helped set up 2 different goals in that game. But yeah, just kind of overall sloppiness, from that back defensive line right there. And they just handled it well. And yeah, the Nation is a team that they show a lot of promise. They show a lot of potential this season. Now it's just a matter of finishing it off, because even talking about Matt Pearson, their director, I mean, he led the U19 team to a national championship. Like, he's been there, he's done that. And so pretty much anywhere that Pearson's gone since coming over from Scotland in 2011, he's been able to develop winners. And so, do they want it to look exactly the way it did yesterday? No, I imagine they'd want it to be a little bit more clinical, a little bit more clean than what that showing was. But they have the potential to do it at the end of the day.
Continue with the highlights here. Forgive me because I didn't watch this game in real time. I could hear it from the studio because Nathan gets really loud when he calls games. I'm not as loud as he is when it comes to calling games. I'm assuming that's the goal right there. Oopsies. Hopefully here comes the replay. Yeah, there it is. So, okay. Again, and I would say not a great goal, but hey, you got to put him in the back of the net. No one said they had to be pretty, right? I mean, I think we oftentimes say it does not have to be pretty at all. But 2-1, they're going into the halftime break, and I feel like in that second half, I feel like things got a little
squirrely. Oh, this has got to be on our list of top 10 bangers on the season.
The goalie didn't
move.
Move.
Are you kidding? I mean, he was convinced that one was sailing high and wet. Nobody moved. Everyone was lead-footed as soon as that ball was released. And you can even hear it in my call, because I was working on the highlights a little bit yesterday, as you saw. It was just, it caught me off guard. It caught Dan off guard. It caught the entire defense off guard. And you could see it afterwards. We're just kind of standing around looking at each other. And if they don't give up those few cheapies, well, that wasn't really a cheapie. I mean, that was a banger. But like, if they don't give up those, I mean, New York has a really solid case for being able to win that game. But you bury yourself early. Great one-timer that time set up by Skidchenko. And then to their credit, again, we're able to rally late, but there just wasn't enough room. There wasn't enough space. Oh, and our camera operator from that game finally checking into the podcast, Peter Mazuik. What's up, man? Good morning. Well done on the camera yesterday. A little shaky at times. You gave me a little headache. I'm kidding. But no, you were good. You were good. But it's fun ball game altogether.
So what we saw, 7 goals in this game. What was the final score?
5-4.
Oh shit! So 9 goals in this game. Yep. Holy crap!
Yeah, you could just let that thing roll, man. I mean, I'm surprised you're able to knock it down to 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So hang on here. Here's the goal. That's a great goal. That's a great finish. So it's now 4-3 in the 83rd minute. Talk about a highlight reel game here.
No need to be sorry there, Peter. You were great. No biggie. I could see the numbers. I could see the field.
So off the corner. Oh, look at that finish. That's a fantastic finish. And then obviously one more left in this one, right? Jeez, oh, Pete's. A PK, huh?
A little PK to bring it back to 5-4.
Is that the penalty?
Believe so.
Really? Wow. I don't know if I buy into that that penalty. I mean,
Peter, what do you think?
I mean,
Oh, well,
I'm
we'll wait
looking
a
at this
minute for him
again.
to comment.
I mean, okay, I'm just trying to think here.
Now you
Just
got to put
trying-
this one. You put the other one in slow mo. Now we got to see this one in slow mo. Ooh,
let's. Yeah, I don't. No, dude, that is the
ooh,
that is the definition of a weak penalty right there.
ooh.
I mean, thoughts? I mean, you were watching this in real time. I mean, nothing about that seems like a penalty.
No, yeah, he got the ball.
He gets the ball, just trying to battle for position. I don't see a push there.
He just like trips over him. I got to give him credit though, man. He sold it.
That he did.
You got to sell it. I realize that maybe that bothers some people, but that's a part of the game, man. He did it, got him back within one. Peter not mincing any words when it comes to what his thoughts were about that. Straight up, dude. I like it. I like it. Just come right out with it. But yeah, man, that was a great game, and you have had most of the experience when it comes to covering Chicago Nation this year. So I was kind of relying on you and Dan, and obviously it was Skitchenko who got both their goals against Detroit City FC 2 in their first round matchup. But yesterday showed the ability of a lot of different players to get involved and score, and he gets the Oscar. Hey, man, that's a part of it. That is a part of it. But yeah, this was Sam's at the very end that was able to pull it within one. I do have a question, though. What is it with the goaltender trying to hold on to the ball for as long as possible? Like, is there any rules as to how quickly you have to start play after something like this? Because you see, he grabs it, and then we have kind of a wrestling match that ensues afterwards. He's trying to get it back. Here comes his teammate to try and get it back. Like,
Yeah,
how does the referee, in terms of stoppage time, when does he stop it? How does he decipher? At what points does he stop his watch?
Yeah, well, it's not about stopping his watch. He's never going to stop his watch. He'll just add more time. It's delay of game. The goalie should get a yellow card. Yeah, it's delay of game. I mean, there's no way around that. You know, I mean, when you do that, it should be a yellow card. You know, but again, you know, everybody does things a little differently. And so I can't speak to what I don't know. But was the goalie issued a yellow card?
No, he didn't get anything. As far as I saw, I know Peter's in this conversation right now. I don't know if he saw anything, but I didn't see a yellow. I didn't see anything else come out after that. So, yeah.
So, well, what did we see yesterday? All right. Well, we also saw a WPSL national championship game here on the National Soccer Network. This matchup was, I'm going to pull it back here. We're going to put it on your screen here in a moment. Sporting CT and California Storm, right? So, I mean, think about this for a second, right? We've had, I had to think this through. National championships on NSN so far. MASL. Chihuahua Savage, right, versus San Diego Sockers, right? We saw that this past winter, right? We've seen state championship games on NSN. We saw it with MSYSA. We saw, obviously, the USLW National Championship here on Saturday. Here's the WPSL, the League for Clubs National Championship coming up this weekend. We also have, obviously, USL League 2. So a lot of national championship games. So we're really excited about that in our young history of a national platform. But yeah, so this is the national championship game. Sporting CT, California Storm. California. It was a very busy first half. As take a look here. This is the first goal of the game. Put home.
Woo!
And Sporting CT gets that first goal. And as you can see, they get some more. So, another one.
Whew.
All right, and that's the second one. Let's find the next one, shall we?
Remember that old ESPN?
Water break.
All right. Okay.
By the way,
underwater break.
Yeah, I did not. I did not approve that water break. By the way, that whole graphic. Anyways, so here is the third goal.
Settles down wide of the 18. Looks for a lane. Loops one. Ah! You really got to stick that note there.
Yeah, you kind of do. So it's 3-0 here in the 32nd minute. What I will say is that everything in this game happened in the first half. So, we will only watch the second half just for the celebration purposes, because our producer was like, the second half was not the first half. And so, it's already, my bad. Up, here we go. Is that the fourth goal? My bad. I thought that it was coming up. But so this is, I think, the fourth goal coming up here. But again, I mean, that's a beautiful ball, by the way, right over the top, and just tapped in. And it looked like it might have went wide, but it went in. Fourth goal in the WPSL National Championship game. And then there's all the excitement. Correction on a player. Waiting for the trophy celebration. I didn't see water or a jug come out. Sean Jones off there on the left. He is the president. Matt Homanoff there on the left as well. The WPSL is, located in Oklahoma City. That's their headquarters. And of course, the excitement of it all.
And another championship game in which we saw one team run away with it. It kind of surprising once you get to that point of the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, you'd expect something close. You'd expect a close battle. But, I mean, momentum's a big thing. And, I mean, they grabbed it early and they just kind of ran to the finish line. We saw that with Utah United. You get an early one and bless you. We knew coming into it that there was going to – bless you again. That there was going to be no, all right, just two. Okay, all right, I'll wait for the trifecta. But that there was going to be a little bit of an edge because of one team kind of getting thinned out. Was that hand sanitizer? Nice.
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah. Got to make sure
fancy. All right. Just projectile into the rest of the room. All right, that's fine. But yeah, two kind of blowout games, but like I said, we saw a lot of close competitive games. We saw everything this weekend. So just a really fun stretch. And I love how obviously all the different leagues, they start their playoffs roughly all at the same time. So really gave us an opportunity to look back at it. One more for good luck. Yes, as always, a little insurance, as they say. But no, man, that was all in all, that was a really fun weekend. A lot of great matchups. Obviously not done quite yet with the USL 2. We still got more to cover, more to see with those guys. And so a lot to be decided, but I know that, my allegiances might fall over here, but I'm thrilled to see what Flint City can do. I'm thrilled to see what that group can end up accomplishing. And so a lot of bright stuff to love about what they're doing and where they're going.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And we'll talk with Ballard. Obviously, these games are all going to come down, into our environment. So we'll talk with Ballard and the production team out there on the West Coast. See if Flint is in fact hosting that game. If we could be on the call for that Flint City Minneapolis game, that'd be kind of a fun thing to be a part of. That's the great thing about our technology is that we can do that. So we'll have that conversation for sure. And then if we talk about it, I mean, we're talking about we're down to the Elite Eight, right? And so 4 games coming up here on Friday. Those 4 games will obviously decide who moves on to a semifinal. And again, I mean, we've seen Ballard's only 3 years into their existence, and they have been a force to be reckoned with. Again, they won it all in 23, and they beat Ventura County here in Flint, Michigan, 2 years ago. And so it's going to be interesting to see, how this all kind of shapes up. And I'm looking forward to watching that game. And if we have a chance to be a part of it, that'd be great. Because again, if Flint continues on, there's a very good chance that Flint could be a host of the national final, and so they go out there and win those 2 games, come back home. Vermont and Green, if they were to win, I would imagine that they would host. You know what I mean? Because their stadium and their environment is unbelievable. And so there's 2 teams there. But remember, keeping in mind that Flint, they won it back in 2019, did it at Atwood Stadium. So that was their last national championship. But yeah, it's been we will have no show tomorrow, by the way, everybody. I just want to put that out there. Nathan continues to have dental appointments at 9 a.m. on Tuesdays. I'm not sure what's going on. Why?
I'm doing okay. They wanted to spread it all out, man. I don't know. I don't get it. I was in there fighting for it. I'm like, just do what you need to do in one. I mean, it's not even a lot of stuff. Like, it's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not even a lot of things they had to do. They're like, oh, you got no major things, just a few little things you got to do.
What are they doing? I mean, what are they doing? I mean, I know there's HIPAA law, but what are
fine? Just a few things, just on my back teeth. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been back. I wasn't insured for a while. Broadcasting doesn't make shit in terms of money, so I didn't really have any insurance for a while. So yeah, I was just like, I was brushing and flossing and doing everything I could, but that's the reason why it's important to go in and, you get checked up. That's why you go to the doctor every year, just because you don't feel something doesn't mean there's not something there. So again, that's why it's important. Must be a hot dentist. Not quite. The assistants are cool. But yeah, just not even a crown or anything. Like, it's not like they have to remove teeth. Like, they're just routine fillings. They're just like on my back teeth. They just got a few little spots. They just got to, bring out the little drill and then little filler thing and whatever, man, whatever. But they wanted to
I'm
spread
going to need
it
to
out.
go ahead and record this now so we can have a nice video of it for later in the week.
Well, it would be funny to just do knock the show back an hour so you could just have me talk with half my face numbed up. That would be funny. Yeah. Because even when I'm checking out and they're like, hey, how was your appointment? I'm like, hey, it was great. It was great. No problems. No problems. Feeling good.
You sound like Peter Griffin.
when he has the stroke.
Oh, man.
Peter, I love you too. But
it is a very light week for us here at NSN and our weeks will continue to get lighter because these seasons are coming to an end. We've talked about that. This weekend, we had 18 games on Friday. We had 1 obviously on Saturday. So that was 19. And then yesterday we had 8 plus 2. So we had 11. So we had 30 games this weekend. And again, perspective-wise, I mean, last year, we talked about this. Last year in 1 month, our best month was 50. And so I'm saying light week is 30 broadcasts, right? And it's true, 30 broadcasts. I think in total this week we had 32. But, I mean, it's crazy to think about that. And then this weekend we'll go from, obviously going from 32, we'll go to 4, 5, 8 games this weekend in total. So it's obviously, it's very exciting. It's very exciting to be a part of this. And I mean, we're just 2 weeks away from everything coming to an end here for us this summer. And then we'll take a breather, from live games for a couple weeks and get back at it here. Bunch of replays. The cool thing is with our technologies, we can actually start to, have some fun with some of these games and replay them. And so we'll make some fun, have some fun with these games and get them replayed in a really kind of a cool environment. But I also want to get into some live video games as well. And so we'll talk about that here. How about me and you getting on, some live, playing some FIFA, against each other live and doing some commentary with that. So
I'd love to live stream us watching games. That'd be great. Is the dentist making you shave? You got a problem, Peter? Huh? Got a problem with what I got going on? No, the dentist.
He got mad, so I had to go ahead and cancel him.
No,
you got
not quite.
Me? You got a problem? Yes, I do have a problem. Playoffs?
No, I don't think they have any issues getting through the what's on my face. I think they're okay.
Well, bring another episode here to an end. Episode number 121 officially in the books. I guess we're not doing a show tomorrow, so we'll take the day off. Take the day off, and we'll enjoy some time.
Check us out on social.
Well, we'll be back at it again Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week, and get ready for the weekend of playoff games. But for Nathan Wanger, I'm Jonathan Turner. You've been watching Inside the Game, which premieres every single day, except when he has a dentist appointment, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on the National Soccer Network, on Roku TV, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. But as always, we'll see you next time here on Inside the Game.